Welcome to another edition of the Tiger Football Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose. Well, Coach, the Tigers go up to Delaware, number 6 team in the country, and they were not giving up points throughout the first 4 games of the year, and they were scoring a lot of points. Well, you kind of put the kibosh on the scoring a lot of points, but their defense did come up big. Couple of plays, really the difference in the game. A 65-yard run by Cumbie, and then a touchdown pass to Harbin, 74 yards, where Smith almost had the interception. That play right there really changed the game around.
Agreed. We hit some momentum. We started off pretty decently. We moved the ball. We scored first. We were up 3-0 and driving to score a touchdown. Encouraged by a lot of the things that we did defensively against an incredibly dynamic quarterback and great offense. But I honestly believe their defense does not get enough credit. That you kept almost your entire roster from a year ago, even though you had a coaching change. You kept your defense coordinator, and they took a good defense, and they've only gotten better. Playing them at home, obviously a tough place to play up there, a fun place to play. But we are in this thing where we're getting better defensively, encouragingly better. But the big play is killing us, and it's 1 or 2 a game that cost us points, and we got to find a way to stop that.
One real positive sign that we saw in this game is Joe Bangda. He had a great day rushing the football, the most extensive we have seen him so far this year. What do you see from him, and what did you see on Saturday?
Well, it's a real good thing that we had him because we didn't have Devin, and Devin had been playing very well. So that, going up to Delaware, having Diego healthy, but only one, you didn't really know what you're going to get. We saw out of Joe what I believed we would see out of Joe just at an earlier date. I wanted to see this kind of thing in a Bucknell game, where he's strong, he's powerful, he's got good vision. Ran a little high, took a couple hits, but really did some good stuff. And this is his starting line. Would have loved it if his starting line would have been 4 weeks ago. Imagine where he'd be today. So very encouraging with what he did, both running and blocking. And looking forward to where he's going to go. If we can build off of his performance on Saturday, that bodes well for the offense.
Another guy that had a great game for you defensively, Jesus Gibbs. He was all over the field, behind the line of scrimmage, past the line of scrimmage. He was all over the place.
I'm going to compliment him because he's earned it, but I'm also going to compliment the rest of them. Finally, Zeus did what he wanted to do, what he knew he could do, what we've been waiting for him to do for his entire career. He turned the motor on, didn't turn it off. He played as hard as I've seen him play. He played as smart as I've seen him play, and he was as consistent as I've seen him play. Thoroughly impressive. And to be honest, what he did raised the bar for everybody else around him. They're like, all right, well, Zeus is finally playing, so I'm playing. And off we went. And it wasn't just him. We probably played better in the front 7 against a pretty impressive offense than anybody they played all year. And they've earned a whole lot of respect from both the opponents of which we just played and everybody else who's going to watch it on film.
All right, here's the off-the-wall question. We see on Twitter all the time, thank you, New Orleans Saints, for visiting Towson. Thank you, Minnesota Vikings, for visiting Towson. Who are they visiting? Who are they coming to see?
They're coming to evaluate the roster. That they know that this has happened for the last since 2011. Since 2011, that we have consistently put out to at least to the NFL teams a program in which is similar to theirs. How we go about our practice schedule, how we go about our training schedule, our expectations, even the verbiage that we use. It's very NFL based. Once you have success, then they start seeing your kids. Once they see your kids do well at the next level, being disciplined, good teammates. Look at Ty Smith. Look at Jordan Dangerfield. I mean, these guys just got done. Been playing in the league for a long time. So anytime they believe there's a sniff of maybe a player, they're going to come watch practice. They're going to come evaluate the film. They want to hear what we have to say about the guys that we have on our roster currently that are coming out. And then the young kids, they want to see how they grow. We've really done a good job fostering that relationship with the league and earning the respect of them. We don't tell them, we tell them the truth. I guess that's pretty much the biggest thing. We're honest with them about who our kids are and who they aren't. And because of it, they respect it and keep coming back.
So they're not coming to see anybody specifically then?
Oh, sure. They always have somebody in mind. They want to see Zeus. They want to see what kind of guy he is. They know a whole bunch of transfers that were on their board at other places that have a chance to play at the next level, possibly with their size and some of their numbers. So yeah, they're coming to check everybody out. That's their job. The massive misnomer, and and this is good for anybody who's growing up and playing the game, you hear about Pro Day. Pro Day doesn't mean anything. Pro Day is the day where scouts will come, it's a little bit of a PR stunt, and they're coming just to certify what they think they know. Other than that, that's all it is. So you live in a world where a bunch of kids think, oh, I'm going to have a great pro day and then I'm going to league. I've seen guys jump through. No, your pro day is your practice every day that's on film. Your pro day is your game film that they evaluate all the time, just like coaches did before. So one combine doesn't get you a shot on a 32-team league. It's what you do over a body of work.
All right, and I'm sure you make that clear to everybody.
We do, but even so, it's hard for kids to hear the honesty of that when they hear a world full of ridiculousness. That pro day will get it done. I've actually had guys who have never played in a game wanted to go to pro day because they thought, if I do well, I'm going to go to the league. And that's about as delusional as it gets, and it comes from somewhere else.
All right. Team, unfortunately, on a 3-game losing streak. This week, it doesn't get any easier. You're going to take on an Elon team that's 4-1. Their loss coming to Vanderbilt, who they played very tough. Mm-hmm. They've since ripped off 4 straight wins. Big win last week against Richmond in double overtime. Last week, you had Nolan Henderson, who was, gaudy quarterback number 1. Now you have McKay, gaudy quarterback number 2. 13 touchdown passes in the 5 games, averaging 250 yards per game. What do you see from him on film?
He's very talented. You just spit out. He makes good decisions with the ball. That his overall career touchdown to interception ratio is very, very impressive. And that is a complete number for good decision maker, period. So he runs the offense very, very well, spreads the ball out. They got 2 stud wideouts that do well, returning guys. And the defense puts them in good positions. They have decent field position. So he can gamble a little bit, and he does it. They say, like, he's one of those guys that doesn't gamble unless he knows he's going to win. He's going to take a shot where it's not going to hurt him, and it's only going to be a good play for his team. I'm thoroughly impressed by his skill set. But don't cut him short now. They run the ball a little bit.
Well, he runs the ball too.
I know.
I mean, he's their second leading rusher, but then you've got Hampton, who's averaging almost 5 yards a carry, has 416 yards through the first 5 games. So they are a balanced attack, much like the Delaware team you saw last week.
Agreed. And we're going to have to do exactly what we're going to have to hit. We hit Nolan, and it made a difference. We got to Nolan. We sacked him more. We had more sacks in one game I think we did in the whole season. We had more pressures, I know, in one game than we have in the whole season. That's got to happen again with a more athletic guy who's playing at home. Elon's probably the hottest team in the league right now, coming off 2 nationally ranked wins, both close to home. Beating William & Mary at William & Mary is a tough thing to do these days. They're pretty loaded. So I don't think there's a more confident team that we could face this week in the league. But it's a week in the CAA. Let's go.
What about your team? You're on this losing streak over the last 3 weeks. How do you keep their confidence up?
That's good. You go to work. Like what do you say? You have a good day, you go to work. You have a bad day, you go to work. The good thing is the work that you do is the thing that you love. So you don't ever think about that. You just go play. God lets us go play football. We put helmets on 4 days a week. And that's pretty amazing, even at their age, even though some of them are kind of old now. They're getting into their 30s. So, the motivation and all that stuff doesn't really matter. It's being able to, with the distractions of college, of going to class every day, having a ton of homework, having to do what you got to do, the distractions of the university. If on your way to class, there's lots of things to distract you from other things. So, and then you put all that together and you still have to be a really, really good football player, a full-time football player. So balancing that out when things aren't, it's easy to do it when everything's going well. It's a little more challenging when everything isn't going well, but honestly, that's your step into courage, that you're tough. You do the things you have to do when you have to do them, whether you like it or not, whether it hurts or not, whether you're sore or not. Everybody in America is sore right now. We're all practicing. We're all going to play. And it's not about who plays well when they're healthy. It's who plays well when they're sore. And when you do that, you realize that, oh my God, I'm a little courageous. I went past. And that's going to carry over for the rest of my life. So we had a good conversation about that today. And the guys are really excited about it. But basically, they're just excited to come play football every day. Who isn't?
Your passing game.
Mm-hmm. Anemic.
What do you have to do to get that?
Throw the ball to the guy who's open, and then once we do, we need to catch it, and have rhythm while we're doing it. When you put a guy open on 3rd down, and you're going to get on the first series of the game, and you hit him in the chest with a ball, you got to make the play, and we did. And When we don't do that, there is a drain on the confidence. And we need the quarterback to be more confident. We need him to be more consistent. And we need better continuity in the pass game consistently. We've dropped too many balls in critical times, and we're not putting the ball where it needs to be. If we get a guy wide open, we can't hit a crossbar with it. It's got to go in his hands.
All right, Coach. Tigers will take on Elon Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock. Gordy Combs and I will have a call for you on TowsonTigers.com starting at 1:45. So for the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Tiger Football Report.